Now, something else that you might not think about when you're talking about setting up a studio is the accessories you need. Now, I don't use an awful lot of accessories, but there are some that I use that I absolutely swear by. So this video is all about those little gadgets and extras that many people forget about, but will make your studio stand out above the rest. Accessories can actually make the difference between a really easy setup and a really difficult one. So there's just a couple of things that I think everyone should add to their pile of stuff they use in their home studio to make sure that it runs as smoothly as possible. Now, the first one I'm going to mention is a tripod. This is especially important if you're planning to do the recording just on your own, which is pretty much what most of us will be doing. This means that you can set it up and it can be nice and steady and you can get on with the job in hand by recording. There's a couple of things to think about when you do get a tripod though, and this is the actual one that I use. As you can see, it's very, very cheap. Now, the thing is though, it is quite lightweight. I wouldn't get away with taking this outside anywhere. So if I was going to do an outside shot, I would definitely have to get a heavier duty one, purely because the wind would blow this over. But for indoor shots, which is mostly where your green screen studio is going to be, this is absolutely fine and absolutely perfect. It's got a thread on top of it which you can actually twist and screw the different cameras on, and it fits both my ZI-A and my flip camera. And then you've got the added addition of spirit level marking, so you can check that it's all fine and balanced when you're actually looking at it and setting up your shot. Now, available storage space can be a big issue for people with home studios as well, and this thing packs up really small and lightweight, so you can just throw it in the back of the wardrobe or wherever else you're going to keep all the rest of your stuff. Without a tripod, you're going to be balancing books on top of boxes and all sorts of stuff to try and get the right height. And talking about height, you need to make sure that the tripod can go high enough that it's going to be at the right level to record you. It's no good if it's going to go too low because the angle will be strange and people will be staring up your nose for most of the time that you're recording. So just make sure that it goes up to a level that you're happy with to be able to record your videos. Now you've got a nice steady shot with your tripod, but the thing is, if you have to keep going back to check your camera and pressing play to check that last recording you did, or maybe adjusting something slightly, you're going to end up having to do a practice shot every time because you've just shifted the camera slightly, or you possibly have shifted it and you can't be sure. Now you don't want issues later on, so it's very important that you make sure that the camera is back where it was. Now, a way to get around this ever happening is to buy a remote control. Now, as I said, I've got the ZI-A, and this is the remote control that works for that. But you'll find that either your camera will have come with a remote, or you can find one on somewhere like Amazon or eBay that should work with it, assuming that it's compatible with a remote. For the small amount I paid for this, it has saved me hours and hours and hours of setup time, because if I was to touch the camera and knock it, I would have to do it all again. So I think this is a really good purchase for anyone that wants to do this properly. It also means that I can stand in shot, I can be ready to record my bit of green screen and then hit the record button and know that I'm okay. I can then start saying whatever it is I'm saying for that particular video, and once I've stopped I just hit the record button again to stop it. This means that I don't have that whole sort of walking onto the stage thing and walking back off, and it also means that I don't have to worry about all that sort of thing. Not only that, but you can also zoom in and out with these and play back the videos that you've just recorded. This is great when you're doing a test for the audio and things like that, and you can just hear to make sure that you can hear it back okay. I really do think this is a very important and time-saving part of your equipment. So if your camera is compatible with a remote, make sure you go and grab one. Now there's something else accessory-wise, and it doesn't just apply to green screen and home studios. I use this stuff all over the place to do all sorts of multitude of tasks. And what I'm talking about is gaffer tape. Now, I mentioned in the microphone video that I actually use this to tape the microphone into my clothes or onto my actual skin so that I know I've got a nice close fit. I also use it when I'm tightening up my green screen. When you're using cloth for the green screen and you can pull it tight, it's great to be able to put a bit of gaffer tape there so that it keeps it nice and tight and stretched so that the green is as uniform as it can possibly be. There's all sorts of other things I've used this for as well, like a makeshift fix for a stand that's just buckled or something like that. So it's definitely something to have in your accessories toolkit. It'll come in so handy, and you can even use it around the house if you don't actually end up using it in your studio, but I bet you will. Now, something else that you would have seen when I was mentioning the green screens, but I didn't really go into, is a frame for your actual green screen. Now, this is another accessory, I suppose, but it's also very, very necessary, unless you're just pinning it straight to a wall or you're using the paint technique. Now, a frame literally is something to hang the green screen cloth over, or the paper if you're using that. and you can use this to then tighten it up. But this is actually cheaper usually if you buy it as part of the kit that I showed you. So you get the lights, the green screen and the stand and all the tripods all in one package. But you can come onto somewhere like Amazon once again and you can have a look at all the different frames. So if you are using just a bed sheet or something like that, you can buy it completely separately for around $30–40. However, the tape I just showed you can also be used to stick a screen straight to the wall if you want to. Just be aware that if you've got a lot of cloth, it'll be quite heavy and it's going to rip it off the wall. So a frame is probably sturdier and it's probably actually a better example of how to get this done. Whatever route you decide to take, as long as you've got something to hold your green screen in place, it's all good. I've even been known to drape the green screen over a door and then shut the door and use that to keep it tight. This is a really good budget way of actually having the green screen nice and taut, and all you have to do is make sure you don't wave your hands around so much that they come out of the frame of the door. As well as the physical accessories you can get for your studio, there's also some software that I can recommend. Now, I don't actually use this very much unless I've got a set thing I need to say for someone else. When I'm doing my own videos, I tend to just talk off the top of my head and come out with whatever comes out of my mouth. Now, not everyone can do this and some people need to have set points, or maybe you just need pointers to build off of. Now that's where an auto prompter can come in really handy. Now you can buy proper auto prompters for at home, but they are pretty expensive. And I've also seen some fantastic tutorials on how to build your own DIY one, but it's not something I use enough to go into all that effort. But when I do need something scrolling in front of me to give me some sort of idea of what I'm saying, I found some online and some software solutions that do it just right for me, and they're completely free. Now the first one is this online teleprompter. Now this is great because obviously being online, it means it works on anything. If you can get online on your tablet, on your phone, on your computer, your Mac, your PC, whatever, it will work with this. All you do is you literally type out your script, you pop it in here, so I'll just put something now. And then you choose all your options down here. So you've got a screen size, you can reverse it if you're using a mirror to actually read the prompt. And then you can select your colours and the font size and just hit Start Prompter. Now obviously I haven't got enough script to scroll up here, but if I hit the spacebar, you can see that it gradually goes up. Now it does have settings for different speeds, because obviously you need to be able to read it and speak it, or time it so it's just right for when you need it to pop up on screen. My advice to you is find a speed that you're comfortable with reading along with, and then when you want a bigger pause in your text, just add a load more returns to the actual script. That way it'll take longer for that bit to actually get to the next point, which means that you can take your breath or do whatever it is you need to do in that space you've created. Now a very similar piece of software as well is called Easy Prompter. Now this is also online and it's the same sort of thing. You just put your text in here. On this one you can highlight some parts and things like that if you need to draw attention to them. You can change the different font sizes and speeds, and then you just hit Start Prompt and it does the same thing as the last one did. Now maybe you're somewhere without an internet connection or something like that, or you don't have access to that at the time. Now obviously for this you'll need some software. So I actually found this free place here, which is downloadable software which does the same sort of thing. Now you can actually get this for pretty much any operating system, including ones for tablets and phones. So you've got no excuse not to have it if you need it. Just visit the website and you can download it totally free. Now it's not a lot of accessories and none of them are very expensive, but they will save you a lot of time, energy and effort if you add them to your home studio setup.